let my friend move into my home, he trashed it.
Trash panda?
I, 34 female, bought my own home in Michigan a year ago, completely by myself. To this day, every bill, repair, payment, and furnishing has been paid for solely by me. This is important later and not a brag. I swear, it's a beautiful 100-year-old house that I'm hoping to restore one day. Seems like you're gonna have to do a lot of restoration now. By the way, this comes from Empty Moment 4722 on the r/CharlotteDobreyoutube subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, for context, I was phoned about 5 months ago in November by my friend's boyfriend, Alex, 36 male, because he'd lost his job. They were thinking of moving to the area I'd bought a house in and wanted to be roommates until they could get back onto their feet. At this time, they lived 2 states away from where I own a home, and since their rental lease was up come April, they were going to need somewhere in between to at least move their stuff to while they looked for a place. I agreed under the stipulations that since I travel for work, they A, maintain the house's current state of cleanliness. I'm not a clean freak, but I expect a reasonably tidy home. No underwear on the floor in shared spaces. No rotting food on the counters or in the fridge. Vacuum once a week. Wash your dishes. Clean the bathroom once a week, etc.
Sounds pretty easy.
Yeah, that doesn't seem hard at all. Just don't keep rotting food in the fridge. B, we all later discussed and agreed that they together would pay half of the mortgage payment, which was less than half their existing rent, plus whatever gas electric they used while I wasn't home. I would pay sewer, water, garbage collection, my half of the mortgage, and repairs and maintenance, normal house stuff. I pay my mortgage at the end of the current month for the next month, so I'm never late on payments with banking errors or whatnot. C, no one would come over to the house when I wasn't there that I hadn't already met. I have multiple different past traumas regarding my home space being mistreated, robbed, and destroyed that I requested to have respected. D, the bulk of their stuff would be stored in the massive room downstairs and the bedroom I provided, second only to the master, besides obvious things like hygiene products in the bathroom and pans in the kitchen, etc. E, since they were moving from out of state and I'm working out of state, open communication has to be kept about who is at the house and when on both sides so that if a bill has to be picked up, a service call has to be dealt with, or something is wrong, we know who is at the house so it can be dealt with. F, we'd partner collectively for someone to be at the house if any services have to be done. G, if something needs to be borrowed, it needs to be expressly discussed beforehand, not an afterthought or something I find out later. That's a huge breach of my trust. H, I have 3 people in my life that have expressed permission to be at my house for asylum. They agreed this list was 100% fair. They know all 3 people and understood their situations were rocky and they could need to get out of their homes at a moment's notice. However, as soon as I knew this could be possible, either myself or these individuals would let them know so they wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
Before giving these people this agreement, do you have any inkling that they will not hold up to this?
Yeah, like, do you know anything about their previous apartments have been?
Yeah, because I would be, hey, do you have any, who are your previous
landlords?
Landlords.
Yeah, call up the landlords. I think that if you are this kind of worried and have had bad experiences before, I don't think it's wrong to be like, I need your references and stuff. I want to make sure, like, let's have a contract. Let's not just say this out loud and expect it to happen. They're living in a place that you own. So there has to be a little bit of, logistical talk happening that involves contracts.
Because with all these rules that you have, that you've laid down, I can already see what's about to happen.
Yup. I wouldn't clean out my library from the room they were moving into, but would leave the guest bed and dresser so they had furniture to move stuff into. There was still plenty of space to put additional furniture. This was just to get them started. Further, whenever I'd reach out to my friend prior to this and his girlfriend Anna, 37 female, about arrangements, either she'd defer the conversation to Alex or he'd randomly start messaging me about the conversation. So all communication that wasn't in person between the 3 of us was between him and I. We had this conversation of terms and agreed to them all in person in February of this year. By the beginning of March, I had no room to sit on my couch because it was overrun with stuffed animals. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Seems like a really easy fix.
Do they like to go to the carnival a lot?
Yeah, it's just like those giant pandas. Alex had moved in the house completely and had been living there since the middle of February without informing me to start the job he'd gotten in the area. Great. I asked if this meant he was moving up when we agreed to rent starting, since he'd moved in early. He seemed gobsmacked. He asked, well, why would we do that? I said, because you moved in early. Literally every bill has gone up because you've been there. You'll have been here a full month and a half earlier than we agreed to. I'm doing you a favor, and because you haven't communicated with me, I'm supposed to eat the living costs of you being here? He then claimed he thought he talked to me about him moving in early. Come on. You don't just forget that you haven't talked to your friggin' friend / landlord.
Red
Ridiculous.
flag number 1.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, he hadn't even mentioned it. Yeah, no kidding. Only that he'd gotten a job, but no start date, nothing. We addressed his lack of communication. He promised to do better. He'd pay his half, a quarter of the mortgage for the month of March. Since he was there and he didn't communicate, and we'd all move on as this was fair. At this point, it wasn't about the money, but the principle. Our friend group had a very late friend's Christmas party due to all our schedules being completely conflicting. During this party, I hosted alone, even though Alex and Anna were both in town for this party. So I did almost all the cooking. Some friends brought food to make or just to serve potluck style. I did all the cleaning. The only thing I asked was that Alex take the garbage out and to the curb on Monday, our garbage day. This was on Saturday, as I had to leave town to return to work and wouldn't be back for at least 3 weeks. He agreed. I went back to work. All's fine and dandy. Until I get a Facebook message from the previous owners of my home informing me that the neighbors reached out to them in desperation because it'd been almost a week and they couldn't get a hold of me or anyone at the house. My neighbor had hit the gas meter on my house and our gas was shut off. So I call Alex because if he turns any fire on in the house, it could blow. Oh my gosh.
What?
I'm so scared. This is when I find out not only has he lost his new job, he has also moved back to Iowa in the meantime to continue packing and moving their stuff into my house without bothering to tell me.
Okay, so he's not there.
Well, at least your house isn't going to blow up.
Yeah.
At this
All right.
point, I'll admit I lost my cool. I'm at work 6 hours away, desperately trying to make it back to my home that has had the gas shut off during nearly freezing temperatures that the gas company cannot turn back on without having someone in the house to let them in. And this is when I find out he's not even in the state. He said, "Oh, I thought I told you. I must have forgotten."
Hey, don't forget to stop packing because you're not going to be coming here anymore.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, you're not allowed to be in the house anymore.
This was a fun idea.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
Not going to happen.
Not gonna work, bud. Sorry. I'm sorry. I can head there now if you'd like. I said, forget it. I hung up on him and called a friend, Ken, who lives almost 2 hours away, for help. Ken got to the house, checked it all out. It's all fine. Crisis averted. I find out also around this time that, oh, by the way, during the last set of storms that blew your way, you have a whole corner of the roof shingles that are completely ripped off your house. You might want to get those looked at. Awesome. Alex informs me the next day he's coming back into town with a load of their stuff to drop off, so he can be there when the gas company arrives to turn everything back on. Ken agrees to be there for the roof repairs. That's great. I turn back around and go back to work. Gas meter gets fixed. Neighbors super sorry. I get a service order with dates put in for the roof. Life moves on. I come home after the 3 weeks of being gone to all the lights in the basement on, and my house smells rotten.
No.
Imagine musty, moldy chicken, soured honey ham, spoiled green beans, and other vegetables I cannot recall or recognize. Old gas station food wrappers that got caught in the mix and couldn't escape. Truly rancid stuff.
Oh my goodness.
So I asked Alex why the lights were on. He said he must have forgotten about them when he was there 2 weeks ago. This is his favorite reply.
Dude.
I forgot.
Here's what you do. You take everything out of the house, put it away, change the locks, all that jazz. And when he comes in, try and, get back in the house. Hey, man, why can't I get in? Oh, I forgot I changed the locks. Oh, I forgot, you're not living here. I should have told you.
Totally slipped my mind. Sorry.
Please, OP.
OP, you
See
can't
the
stand
signs.
for this.
You can't.
I mean, at this point, OP's already said, oh, forget it. Don't worry about it. No. The first sign of that trouble, you're like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not in the state. I'm not close by. I'm 6 hours away. We have made a deal. Are we going to have to sign a more thorough contract that says what I need you to do? Because right now you're not fulfilling your end of the bargain. I said that cannot happen unless you're paying the bill. He apologized. We move on. I then ask if he ever took the garbage out after the party like we talked about. His response, no, I haven't been there. I have been at the house about as much as you have been the last few weeks, lol. I said, so the one thing I implicitly asked you to do, you couldn't be bothered? I lost my cool again and hung up on him. So I went to the fridge. Sure enough, the food I spent hundreds of dollars on, hours cooking, weeks planning, was rotting in the fridge because even though he'd said he'd be there to eat it and was looking forward to enjoying the leftovers, he'd left them in the fridge to rot. I checked the garbage can. Sure enough, it was full of rotten food, additional garbage he'd added since he was back and forth, and maggots. I saw red. I took all the food out of the fridge and threw it all away and spent the next 2 hours airing out and cleaning my house, dishes, and fridge. By the time I was done, the house was back to its clean state. I could breathe again, and the smell of rancid, passed-away raccoon had finally faded. Let me tell you, that was the coldest cleaning day in my existence. 100% do not recommend. I addressed it with him, got a half-hearted apology at best, and we moved on.
Dude, girl.
Stop moving on.
Girl.
This is where you say, oh, I'm drawing the line.
Drawing the line and sending him an invoice.
Yeah.
For the cleaning.
Exactly.
Oh, you can't pay it? It's okay. I got a lot of your stuff here I can probably sell.
Yeah.
But that might not be worth anything. Oh my gosh.
I found Christmas totes on sale, which I needed to put away at my Christmas decorations. I knew they were moving, so I asked Alex if he wanted any of them. He asked for 5. I said, okay, pay me back when you get the chance, and brought both his and mine home. Flash forward a couple weeks, all the totes are gone except for one I was already using. Every single one of the 11 that were empty were gone. So I asked Alex about them. He said, oh, I thought we talked about those. I took them back to Iowa with me while I filled them with our stuff to bring things back with. I said we talked about the 5 you asked for that you haven't paid for yet, not all 11. I'd like mine back so I could put my Christmas decorations back. It's February. They shouldn't still be up. He said, oh, my bad. I'll buy new ones and move our stuff over as soon as I get back. I figured this was the end of it. Nope. He buys new totes, sends me a picture of the different colored totes, and says, here are your new totes. I'll bring them to the house next time I'm there. Excuse me? You say, what? So I said, oh, that's kind. However, you can just return my totes. No big deal. He starts trying to convince me just to leave them with the totes they took from me since these are the exact same model totes. So they didn't have to move their stuff out of the ones I'd bought. I repeated, I just like mine back, thank you. He finally relented, and I figure that was that. I mean, if OP's getting this upset about totes, kick this guy out. You hate him. You hate him.
Dang, totes. Totes is such a funny word.
It is a funny word. I agree. It's been a month and he still hasn't moved their stuff out of my totes so I can put my Christmas decorations away properly. It's now the middle of April and the empty and full totes are both still there.
Oh my gosh.
Girl, dump them out. What are we doing? But now I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to March. Alex calls me and informs me that, hey, during one of his job interviews, they asked him if he'd be willing to relocate to Indiana for work. Anna and I discussed it, and there's nothing really holding us to Michigan. So we agreed we'd go start looking for and applying for jobs in Indiana. I have a friend who lives down there that I've already talked to, who said we could live with them until we get a place, and we'll just leave all our stuff in Michigan with you until we actually buy a place. This way we don't have to move stuff again and again until then.
Buy a storage unit.
No.
Storage unit. That's what they do. That's
yes.
the purpose of that. Girl, if you don't put this house on Airbnb, what are you doing? You're losing money.
Yeah. Alex hadn't even applied for the job yet, but they'd already worked out alternate accommodations. He'd set up the interview for there, and they had plans in place for it. Cool, thanks for putting into consideration all I've done for you and everything you've given your word for. Nothing that really held you here. But good for you, buddy. I took this to mean I didn't need to finish cleaning out the bedroom they were moving into, as they were no longer moving in. I even confirmed, where am I to house guests since you are not moving in? As I normally did, was the response. So I left the room alone and continued on with everything else I had to do. I find out a week later that Alex got the job. However, he's worried he won't be able to keep it as the one he got fired from maybe caused him to lose the job he'd had for maybe 2 weeks. I asked him, why was that? He said, oh, because I got fired from the first one for stealing from the company and getting caught. I panic. Say, what the F now?
Okay.
This is OP's trauma.
Is this your line? Wait, her trauma?
Yeah, she said that she had terrible experiences of people trashing her house and stealing from her.
I thought this was happening now.
It is. But she also had past experiences where people did that.
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm not saying like her trauma's bad, but if someone's like trashing your house, wouldn't you draw the line there?
You would think, hey, oh, no, you're not coming over here. But OP's very easily swayed.
Girl, you can have boundaries. I don't think she knows the definition of boundaries.
I don't think so. She's like, oh, I don't know. Be annoyed at them, but invite them in your house? That's a boundary?
Just, clean up after him. Why not?
So during this conversation, Ken is at the house for the roof repair. I call him to ask him to go through my house. He says he'll go through the house, but the roof repair is done. Everything's good. I let Alex and Anna know everything's good. Yay! Until I get a call back from Ken. He tells me the house doesn't look like anything's missing, but what happened to my house? I'm confused and anxious. What's wrong? He said there's stuff everywhere. I said I'll take care of it once I'm home because I cannot handle it at this point, and it's only 1 week, but thanks for letting me know. Ken also asks me if there's any reason why the basement lights were left on when he got there. I said no and asked Alex. He'd forgotten to turn them off again when he was there earlier in the week, so he'd been adding to the electric bill for almost a week again.
Girl, why are you so nice? This is what happens whenever you have chronic PP.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
CPP.
You just let people walk all over you.
You have no backbone. You got your wet toast spine. Please don't do this.
To take this further, in the middle of March, I became extremely sick, was almost hospitalized, and we're still not exactly sure what was wrong. It wasn't the vid, but that's all we know for sure. So long story short, I didn't make it home for that week that I was supposed to. Anyway, I was supposed to help them move the rest of their stuff into my house during that time. I blame the curse of the people pleaser. We called it. For offering in the first place. Stop.
CPP, get fixed today.
Get help today for $19.99.
Call somebody.
Call someone. Obviously, I was too sick to do this and stayed with my boyfriend during this time so he could take care of me. When I got back to my house after being really sick, I find their stuff everywhere. There is now officially 2 rooms in the entire house that do not have a single item of theirs. The only rooms not conquered by their stuff, my bedroom and the laundry room. At this point, I'm livid. We had set guidelines and discussions in place. Why is my house now overrun by their stuff when this is expressly not what we agreed on? When I texted to ask about it because I now trust nothing verbally discussed, Alex hops in to inform me that they had issues with some of the items being too heavy. So they put them at the bottom of the stairs, and that will be the first stuff taken out as soon as they get a place. I asked about the dresser in the dining room and was informed that's because the bedroom wasn't cleaned out like discussed. I said that's because you said you weren't moving in.
Never try to reason with a fool. You're reasoning time and time again.
Yeah, they don't understand what you're saying. You're going to say, why did you do this? And he's going to say, I forgot.
That's the only response he has.
He doesn't remember any other responses. He's got one. That's it. I said, that's because you said you weren't moving in. Why would I clean out a bedroom you're not moving into? I asked about the stuffed animals. He said, yeah, I didn't have space in the bedroom. I told him we'd discussed this before. I cannot sit on my couches. That's not what we agreed on. They needed to be moved. The stuff in the garage? I wanted to mount them in the basement, but wanted to wait to talk to you first. So we agreed on where to put them, and the rolling bar was too heavy to go down your stairs. I asked, why? You're not moving in, remember? Also, if you need to make adjustments, you should have asked or talked to me, not just put stuff anywhere. We discussed a set place, and none of these are in that place. It's been weeks, almost a month, since this discussion. They haven't moved. Kick them out. Kick them out. It's to the point that when I come home, I go to my boyfriend's house instead of my own because mine is being overrun by roommates that are not even living there. Ken is literally begging me to change the locks in the house, give him a key, and he'll meet them whenever they need to go to the house so that I don't have to worry about my stuff being stolen. And I'm to the point of sincerely wondering if my kindness was a mistake. Yeah. Well, the problem is that your kindness is fine, but you just didn't set any boundaries in an effective way. So fast forward to today. I found out the dates for the next time I'm to be home. I'd like to set up to have some work done on the house. To recap, it's now April. I haven't been paid a single penny, not for the totes, the bills, the rent, or at this point for storage. OP, you gotta do something. I'm paying for when Alex was living at the house and for them to store their stuff at my house. Alex is a thief and didn't bother to tell me until it was too late for me to refuse for them because they had keys to my house. They barely, if at all, notify me when they're coming and going in the house. My Christmas totes are still full of their stuff. My house is overrun by their stuff, even though they're not even living there, but are living in and only visit maybe once a week to pick up the mail. I receive no communication regarding their comings and goings in my house. I'm getting reports that the house is basically trash right now, but I haven't seen it to confirm. They're not upholding their agreements at all. And that's when you kick them out. That's what agreements are for. If they're not upholding them, you say goodbye. I'm sure there's more that I've either forgotten or am just too exhausted from my newfound lifestyle as a writer on here to type out. Either way, the facts are that I'm starting to feel really used and would really just like to have my house back. So would I be the a-hole for changing the locks on my house after agreeing to let them live with me? So they have to actually hold to their agreements, notify me when they're coming and going at the house. I actually have locks that work for all my doors, and I can have some peace of mind and control back over my own home. There is an update, folks, but OP keeps saying, like, they didn't listen. They violated the agreements we had. They violated the agreements. If someone violates your agreements, you set a boundary. You say, okay, if you do this, this will happen.
Draw a line in the sand.
Draw a line.
I think that's her problem. She has these boundaries and things, but herself,
they're so easily moved.
She just doesn't draw that line at all. And she just puts herself... They've been here
for months not paying anything.
You know how much money you're losing driving 6 hours there and back?
Exactly. To check on the house that they're ruining? Like, if they are ruining it, you have reasonable cause to say, get out. Yeah. This isn't working.
Yeah.
But there's an update. I really hope that you get rid of them. I changed the locks. Finally. As many of you pointed out, I had indeed given Alex and Anna too many chances and had now effectively taken up residence as a doormat.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anna is the wife.
I think so. So while I was home from my workout upstate, I scheduled some maintenance and added some new rules. They can only enter the house if Ken and I are present, as we have the only keys. They need to get their mail forwarded to their new address or have it go to the post office for them to receive it, as I no longer want it coming somewhere they are not living. They have until the end of the month to get their stuff out of my house, or I will. I also have my totes back.
Let's go.
OP loves these totes. The Christmas decorations are finally down and stored properly. I really think that was a lot easier than you made it seem. I feel like we just could have emptied the totes out.
I don't think so.
Who knew that would be such a ridiculously eventful situation? Oh, and for the tea, Anna was 100% in the dark about what Alex was pulling. She had no idea he wasn't communicating with me, and as he's been lying to her about it from the beginning and insisting on handling everything to make it easier on her.
Or
she's lying.
She forgot.
Yeah. She's like, he never told me. And Alex is like, no, I definitely did. And she's like, I forgot. That has now been rectified after he received a wonderfully glorious butt chewing when I surprised the two of them at my house to confront them about the BS they've been pulling. My only regret about the conversation, that I hadn't made popcorn to enjoy the show. And there is a second update, and I think final update, folks. But I think OP finally is developing that spine that she's been lacking the whole story.
My heart has been just like, this whole time. This is wild.
It is. I think that, again, anyone out there who's doing a favor for a friend, if it is longer than, a couple weeks, if it is more expensive than a couple, like $100, I don't know, then write up a contract, write up some agreements about when you want that money back, about when you want them to leave, about what you want them to do while they're at that place. And if they break it, they're done. They're gone. But there is a second update. And final update. I have my house back. They're 100% moved out. I'll be so excited. It seems that even after our conversation at the house, that Alex still had much he'd kept Anna in the dark about. It seems their relationship might be a bit more precarious all of a sudden. However, that's not my story to tell. So after our brief conversation, I began working in the shadows. I compiled a detailed timeline with receipts of costs, broken agreements, breakdowns in communication, and where exactly he had begun to take advantage. I typed this up and sent it first to her with a brief message at the top stating that I don't know what she has been aware of or not, but here are the facts as I know them. Then again, I sent the same message to him, with read receipts to prove they've seen them. I gave them until April 30th to remove all of their belongings. She apologized profusely and stated he had much to work on and that she would be more present in the lines of communication going forward, since that is clearly one of his opportunities. By the way, you have many opportunities to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts? Yeah, I mean, she cannot catch a break.
OP can't catch a break.
Yeah.
Either. Anna. Oh, I don't know how much I'll buy this Anna story.
I don't know if I buy it. Because how did she not know? I mean, like, they were living in a pigsty. Was she not there? Was she never around?
Yeah.
Suspicious.
Very.
But OP's finally kicked them out, so let's bring her home. He also apologized, but in a sort of backhanded way that didn't really feel like an apology, and said he'd make it up to me as it was his responsibility. Lesson to anyone else eating crow, maybe don't use the term to your standards in any capacity when apologizing. It doesn't feel sincere. We agreed on a date and time of pickup. They showed up with a moving truck while Ken, he really is a godsend of a friend, was working on some repairs for me and collected everything they had at the house. It's gloriously empty now. I've never thought I'd empathize so much with the quiet now, but the shadows are welcoming. Oh, and it's in writing. He's paying me every penny he owes me, or they'll be facing legal action. Ken and I will be going for a much-deserved sushi, sake, and massage, paid for by me, as a treated break from this chaos.
Right.
Love to see it. Thank you, everyone. Sometimes the people pleaser in me needs to remember that myself and my peace of mind are worth defending too. And that, folks, is the end of that story.
I refused to attend my friend's wedding because of what they did.
Keep your mouth shut.
My husband and I were close with another couple. Constant double date game nights. We hosted a weekly D&D that one of them DM'd. Picked up hobbies together and generally did a lot together. That's until my health significantly declined, like a couple of surgeries in 3 months. Recovery symptoms and what led to surgery. By the way, this comes from user something clever, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, she would mock the fact that I was always sick. By the time I had surgeries and found answers, they were more or less not close enough for us to share my condition or what I had surgery. We did reconnect between surgeries, filled them, and invited them to be with our 2 witnesses at our courthouse wedding. She declined. She said that they had worked that day, not during the wedding, but a couple hours after.
She's like, I've got to keep the whole day free.
My husband was also insulted, but we decided we didn't know the situation with her work, how it impacted her asking to come in late or requesting time off or switching shifts. My issue is she never acknowledged me since. No congrats, no sorry I couldn't make it, just a joint message from them to my husband 2 or 3 days after the wedding asking for the ride to the airport. On top of that, my surgery was the day after our wedding, which they knew. I also couldn't sit up by myself, so I was extra hurt that they thought that this was appropriate. Honestly surprised at this point that they didn't twist the knife in deeper and ask us to house sit their dog that isn't housebroken. Seems like they were more resourceful enough to take care of their dog. They had options other than asking us for a ride. I don't want to guess that they were being so crappy. It was now been 3 months. A month ago, my husband planned to talk to him on an outing he planned while she was at work. But in another absolute insult, the guy's night was crashed by her. Yeah, apparently it isn't easy enough for her to call off work. It was just assumed my husband will be his groomsman. He wasn't formally asked. And that is why my husband wanted to speak with him. We don't get it. Husband was asked at the outing to attend a full tux fitting to take place the next day. Turns out she will be there too. Husband could have changed his plans to attend, but was supremely annoyed by how much their relationship has one-sided respect. I just don't want to attend their wedding and silently resent them on their big day.
Don't attend their wedding. They didn't come to yours.
But on the other hand, we're also shared so many mutual friends.
Who cares?
Some of them will be traveling from out of state who we don't otherwise get to visit, and I don't want to draw attention to the rift. Our mutual friends do not know how we feel. We just started sharing we are married, so we should go without saying we didn't mix sharing our exciting news with their shade. It would have been easier to talk to the guy friend, but he has since kept offline on Discord and kept himself scarce. I'm going to be hurt and embarrassed whether or not I attend their wedding. We don't even know if I'm allowed to sit with my husband or if I am effectively attending stag. Is there any anti-drama advice? I want to believe I am above stealing their joy with my mood, but it doesn't hurt to hear any advice. We got an update.
Oh,
Maybe
I mean,
just go.
Yeah, honestly, either you sit with your friends who are coming out of state, or you talk to your husband and say like, hey, can you please ask them? Because I want to sit with you. You are my husband. I don't want to have to sit alone. See if they can like work that out. And then, you know, slowly phase them out of your life.
Yeah. Go to the wedding. This has been 3
I think
months
because your
of this.
husband's going, I would say if you both weren't going, it would make a little bit sense. And then you could make up some excuse about like, just it not working with timing and stuff. But because he has to go as best man, it probably will bring a little bit more attention. Oh, sorry, groomsman.
I would go just honor the times you guys had together. And then from there.
Yeah, and hang out with all those friends that you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, and then just take it easy after that. Be like, oh, it's okay. We're just not in the mood to hang.
Mm-hmm.
Update. Well, my husband's friend has since unfriended him on one platform. Probably blocked him on others. This seemingly came out of nowhere. Husband was able to finally speak to his friend after months of being ignored and one slightly successful attempt to talk in person that was crashed by her. As their wedding approached, they suddenly became very interested in us, spam calling and texting for last-minute night of plans, interrupting our already progress date, offending themselves because we weren't available for their aggressively spontaneous calls and texts. Shout out to another friend that mentioned conversation consent because that concept needs to be more readily involved in our lives. This couple took every opportunity to be insulted by our less immediate responses. Earlier in the day, they would message my husband during training for his new role, then text and call me to ask why he ignored them.
Oh my goodness.
They pulled the same thing after he got off work, text or call during our dinner, then text me to ask why we are ignoring them, effectively ruining the mood with their anxious attachment and dramatics. I just responded to her that to say my husband started a new position, was very busy, and to answer if something was wrong. I was disheartened by this sudden influx when we had not existed to them for months prior. I didn't get so much as a sorry I couldn't make it or attend your wedding text or congratulations. Nothing about my expensive surgery that incapacitated me. Just this text asking why my husband seems to be ignoring them. That it isn't lost to me that she can text when it is approaching her wedding and she wants us to attend/be involved. My husband arranged to meet up and talk things out with his friend alone, as he had intended 5 months ago. Honestly, I was so excited for them during the mid-progress update call from my husband as they drove in their respective cars to grab some food. Husband was saying how receptive his friend was to all the things my husband spelled out that hurt our feelings or made us feel disregarded. He said how his friend was not defensive or otherwise providing excuses, just engaged listening! Exclamation mark.
OP's husband was like, and I didn't appreciate how you kind of ignored my wife's like feeling hurt about, and he's just like,
Oh,
and
wow.
You seem pretty receptive.
Yeah, wow, okay.
And he doesn't actually say anything. He just goes, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. He seemed to understand that while we understood things don't always work out, there was a lot of insult to injury. The night pretty much wrapped up with the friend stating he had been a crappy friend and would really like to try to make things right between us and salvage the relationship. It felt well worth the canceled plans I had with my husband. He got home around 10:30, meaning maybe 3 hours. My husband went to sleep shortly after getting home, and we effectively forfeited any chance of a night together. At 11:30 or so, husband received a text from her. I already see the problem. I see the common denominator here.
Oh, no. It seems like the fiance has been okay because OP's husband is still a groomsman.
Yeah.
It's the woman who has been like making fun of OP, not checking in with her about anything.
Kind of critical.
Yeah. Hypercritical.
Weird. She did not like whatever was secondhandedly transcribed to her. It was a defensive pity party, saying how I didn't know you didn't like me after all these years. I didn't know you thought I was controlling to fiance. I didn't know you thought I was never nice to OP. She threw around how she was known and hung out with my husband for 7 years, ignoring the fact that I've known her for 5. And I might as well not even exist. I felt insulted all over again by her actions. Her earlier message felt like so much more of a failing Bechdel test. I existed exclusively as an extension of my husband. She had just apologized for not reaching out to me directly, and here she was indirectly complaining about me. My husband nor I even saw the text that night. There was, of course, so much more to come because she was insulted some more before we woke up. This is why I appreciate the concept of consent to conversation. She was messaging my husband while he continued to be unavailable to respond, angering herself further that he didn't drop everything to engage. He had to pacify her and essentially say that he is calling out her actions and not her character. He doesn't hate her like she seemed to believe. She never responded. Urgency, like most things in relation to her, is one-sided. A few days later, my husband was reached out by his friends saying my husband needed to confirm that day that he would be a groomsman. Husband said that as he needs an answer tonight, it will have to be no. There are too many things unresolved. Nothing else has been said, and it appears as though my husband has been removed from the friends list on Steam.
Ooh. Dang. Rough. You can't go back from that.
You really can't. Ah, that's so hard.
Yeah.
He probably got blocked on Discord too.
Probably.
They're no longer Reddit buddies.
Aw. That's, man.
My husband is understandably hurt.
Yeah.
Beyond belief. It is an understatement to say it's a little awkward because this is just some of out-of-town friends connected with us to make plans to attend the wedding together. We haven't breathed a word to our mutual friends. We figured we should bury our feelings and tend to keep appearances as we faded out of our former friendships.
They didn't want you to attend if they blocked you?
I'm sure uninviting us will raise alarm bells with other friends. Yeah.
Oh, so they're only inviting you to like keep up appearances, and you guys are only going to keep up appearances.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is.
I don't know. If they're treating you this bad, I mean, let your friends find out.
Yeah. After party at my place.
Yeah, literally.
From where I stand, I think they all had more to lose drawing attention to how rude they've been to us. And it would be very rude if you don't go to your favorite freaking podcast platform right now. Search up OK Storytime on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and listen to more stories just like this.
Do it.
Don't be rude.
Don't be rude.
We have an edit.
Well, honestly, I don't even know if you guys have to go to the wedding.
No, don't.
At this point, your husband's no longer a groomsman, it seems like. That's kind of what they've been implying, right? Yeah. You aren't close with the friend either, the bride. You're only going to keep up appearances. They're only inviting you to do the same thing. So it's like, why go there and be resentful? And like, probably you're going to want to tell your friends, but you'll feel like you can't because you're at their wedding. I feel like not going, and if anyone asks, you just say, this is what happened.
Yeah, for sure, dude. For those of you concerned about getting ahead of the story, so they don't spin it, I don't think anyone will favorably look upon their consideration. I started going public with my health condition. I had an organ removed and then had another surgery within 3 months to remove tissue in 10 different places. I'm starting IVF or more freezing my eggs the same month as their wedding, and those suckers are deteriorating. She keeps telling people / me I only gave her 12 days notice for my courthouse wedding, so of course she couldn't make it, despite it not being during work hours. But the wedding was in fact because my husband and I were experiencing my health hardships and had to make tough calls like freezing embryos or just losing fraternity possibly within the year. She is not going to walk away from this unscathed. I made a social media post in honor of International Women's Day. Our friends saw it, and that's when she started essentially reaching out to us. She knows she doesn't look good, and she kept digging her hole deeper. Edit 2. Oh, and my husband and I got married on my husband's birthday. It was a Monday. My surgery was on that Tuesday. We bought rings right before Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving messed up courthouse hours. We thought it was slightly romantic. And she couldn't attend my husband's birthday / wedding, even as one half of our required attendees. I was ashamed to tell people the day we got married, but it is a whole other level of disregard that casually missed our wedding. It will not take us bad-mouthing her for people to think she has been a heartless butt. And that's the end of that story.